This is round 2 of a constructed tournament that we had at Portland Game Store in Portland, Oregon. At the top of the screen is Nate playing a witch deck, and at the bottom of the screen is Jack, also playing a witch deck. This was part of the Trials of Spring tournament series. This event was specifically called the Mystical. It draws upon 6 themed avatars. I have the exact list listed below in the description if you're curious. And a notable stipulation of the tournament series is that proxies for avatars are allowed. And that was just an equity inclusion to give people the opportunity to play some avatars, even if they don't have those pieces. Some of the avatars allowed are a little more expensive, like the alpha avatars are getting up there in price. And we wanted to do, I think that the idea was that the store wanted to do a flavor-forward constructed format, and they didn't want they didn't want to gatekeep players out from experimenting and having fun with these kind of like flavor decks, just because they couldn't afford certain avatars. Avatars were the only things that were allowed to be proxied. Everything else was required you to have the card. I should also mention that the video footage from this series for the Mystical tournament is provided by Eric from Wizards of Fun. I'll link that channel in the description below and in the title card up above here. Eric does a ton of super fun content related to Sorcery, a lot of it more blog style, capturing some of the fun community moments that we have both here locally and nationally. Jack playing a very low to the ground witch deck here, and Nate I think feels like playing a witch deck that is going to take a little bit longer to set up. So Jack here with turn 3 Spore Spouts and aggressively playing out a Sisters of Avalon to the Pebble Path. Nate starting his turn 3 here. I mean, one of the benefits to going with a very low to the ground witch deck is that it frees up your avatar to start tapping for ability sooner. And I think obviously the drawback on that strategy is that you're going to burn through your cards and you're going to lose a lot of potential card advantage a lot faster. Which I think can be a danger. So you have to you have to be aggressive and threatening enough to do what you need to do in the early turns, and not allow your opponent to be able to set up and stabilize into mid game, into late game. I think it's a risky strategy, since a lot of the most powerful decks are more mid-range tempo or mid-range control-based decks currently in the meta. But if the stars align and you're able to get the start that you need, I think that a more aggressive style deck strategy can do a lot of work for you. Nate ramping out 4 mana with a Dark Tower, playing a Toolbox. I think he's looking through his options in collection, choosing not to do anything here. He's just going to pass turn, so unable to make use of the ramp mana on turn 3 there. Jack beginning his turn 4, getting that attack in for 1 point of damage. playing a Gibbous Night Gaunts. Playing it in a more defensive position into the void here, like diagonal to Nate's site. I think it's worth mentioning that that is like you have to be careful when you're playing something into the void like that, especially in Night Gaunts with Airborne, because playing it diagonal to a site does not give you the ability to attack into that site. You can't enter the site diagonally from the void with Airborne. Airborne is an ability that only applies if you exist on a site. So the diagonal move would not be allowed, and in this scenario, Jack wouldn't be set up to attack into a site on his next turn here, except that Nate has now played Fertile Earth adjacent to the Night Gaunts, and that gives the Night Gaunts a way in to attack. Nate playing a ghoul. I think he actually like cracked the toolbox and grabbed the ghoul out of collection, which seems interesting to me. I think he just like was getting nervous and felt like he needed a body on board to counteract, to address the threats that Jack has coming out here, and he must not have any viable minion bodies in his hand to cast, which is unfortunate. I'm noting on the screen here that they've somehow gotten off of Mantle here. They're calculating in an additional point of damage when there was not an additional point of damage. So the life totals that they are going off of in reality are it's 1 point less. It should be 1 point less of damage recorded on Nate's life total than they think. Nate getting out a lone tower again, ramping here, ramping up to 6 mana on this turn. 2 for a displace to push the ghoul up, and another 2 for a gift to the wolf. Gift to the wolf onto the ghoul. I think unfortunately Nate is critically forgetting that the Night Gaunts have Airborne and can't be attacked into from a minion or a unit that does not also have Airborne. So that was unfortunately a bit of a waste from Nate there. He did get the card draw from Gift to the Wolf, but when you play Gift to the Wolf, you really want to be able to remove a threat greater than like Sisters of Avalon. And Night Gaunt still on the board here, and a piece that Nate is going to have to come up with a solution for still. Night Gaunt flying in, attacking for 3 more points of damage. Jack still sitting at 3 mana in his mana pool. He has not cast the spell yet. Nate getting dangerously close on life total though, so we could start seeing. You see the witch starting to tap to do 2 points. Mix air, cracking the mix air for a Merlin. This was actually like he was able to cheat that out. He doesn't have the threshold innately from sites to play Merlin, but he was able to get that out with the mix air. Witch still untapped, and I believe that puts him at 2 mana left in the mana pool for turn. Tapping the Witch to drain 2 points of life from Nate. That brings him down to 6 life. I think they are calculating it as 5 again because they got off on life total by 1 at some point there. 6, still a pretty dangerous position to be in for Nate here. He needs to come up with a way to deal with the Night Gaunt. And even if he comes up with a way to deal with the Night Gaunt, it puts him behind the ball here. It puts him on a timer with the Witch being able to still ping for 3. Or 2, excuse me. Nate playing out of those that linger. And unfortunately, he doesn't have the casting requirement for it, and I don't know if they catch that or not in the game here. Jack taking advantage of Merlin's ability at the main phase of his turn here, looking at the spell that's on the top of the spellbook, and Merlin's ability granting him the ability to cast a magic spell that is on top of the spellbook. Just clarifying what the death rate on those who linger is. Those who linger, a 4 power body. So the way that the Nate's minions are spread now, they do provide enough blockers to where Jack does not have a sight to be able to attack in uncontested at this point, even with Airborne. So I think given that Jack's just considering what to do here, Jack now realizing that those who linger cost 6, and Nate did not have the necessary resources to play that out. Just because the tower came out on a previous turn, I assume that he didn't have that in hand the turn that he played that. Otherwise, that would have been a great card to ramp out when he played the lone tower. They're gonna go ahead and roll. The way they're choosing to resolve this, I think they're rolling back the turn, and they're giving Nate the opportunity to play something else. I don't think they rolled back the turn enough though, because I think on that turn there was a displace played to get the ghoul up to where it was. So I think they're forgetting about that positioning, and instead Nate is now playing an Earthquake for 5 mana, and that will take care of the Night Gaunt. So a little messy on that rollback, and not 100% correct, but I don't think they catch the error beyond what they've already done here, and so they're going to keep playing with the current board state as is. So a turn again, like we're back on track here. Turn has been passed back to Nate once again. Nate still in a relatively good position, even though he's lost the Night Gaunt. The Night Gaunt was doing a lot of work for him. Still able to, he could tap for 2 more points of damage, bring Nate to 4 if needed. Instead, he's playing another Spore Spouts, bringing his mana base to 4. 2 mana for a Pith Imp. Pith Imp will steal a card, a spell from Nate's hand, and it looks like Nate only has 3 in his hand here. Pith Imp steals a Nightmare. Even if he could give the Pith Imp Spellcaster in order to cast the spell, Jack is just joking that he's never going to be able to cast it. It costs 7 mana, and his deck is so low to the ground, it is unlikely that he'll ever get enough mana to actually cast the thing. Merlin paying the last 2 mana in his mana pool to cast Power of Flight off the top of his spellbook. Again, he can do that because Merlin's allowed to look at the top spell and then cast the top spell. So he's paying Power of Flight just to card cycle and draw another card off the spellbook. and take advantage of using that mana in the mana pool before he passes turn. Just passing turn back to Nate here. Nate finally in a position to reach one of Jack's sights and actually start dealing a little bit of damage. So the Ghoul can attack in for 3 points onto Astral Alcatraz, and I think that's what we will see on this turn. Mirror Realm also being played here to copy. He was attempting to copy a tower, thinking he would get the Genesis bonus from it. But unfortunately, like that's not the way those towers work. They realized that pretty quickly. That was an easy mistake to make. He's gonna go ahead and he's choosing Lone Tower. Again, I think I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why he's choosing Lone Tower over Pebbled Path. But I think he's just like, I think he thinks it doesn't really matter for him. So he's just choosing a site. Paying 3 for an Apprentice Wizard. I think technically it would be a more optimal choice to choose the Pebbled Path. Just because like you're fixed for thresholds in both air and earth. And then Pebbled Path extends range and provides a little more denial on charge, at least if Jack wants to play something off of the Astral Alcatraz. Another point of mana for a Torstamer Trinket coming from Nate's hand, pushing in 4 points of damage when he attacks with the Ghoul. So giving him a little more damage in, which is nice. I'm not sure if it actually made sense to play out the Mirror Realm or not. It might have been better just to instead tap the Witch for like 2 points of damage onto Jack. Start pushing in more damage if possible. But again, like I don't know everything that is in Nate's Witch deck, so I don't know kind of like what mana base it wants to get to feel comfortable. 5, 6 to me feels like a lot, but maybe that's where he wants to be before he can start taking advantage of the Witch ability and tapping it. Jack, again, obviously, like we've talked about this before, but his deck curved much more lower to the ground. I can't imagine he needs a site beyond 4 here, beyond 4 mana. I think likely we see the Witch tapping for another 2 points of damage in, and then he plays something. He makes a play with the 4 mana that he has in his mana pool. Jack, clarifying really quick, if an aura counts as magic, and the answer is no. It is an aura type, not a magic type. That is a common misconception or confusion that can happen in the game, but it is an important distinction to make that auras are a different type of card than magic designated cards. Pith Imp has Airborne, and Jack is using the Pith Imp to fly and attack in. So attacking with the Pith Imp for 1 point of damage that Nate is unable to defend, and then tapping the Witch for its ability to drain 2 points of damage. Playing a Mix Air onto Merlin. Laying the Mix Air onto Merlin. It looks like he doesn't have a spell he wants to cast through Merlin with the air, so he's just passing turn. Nate dangerously close to door here. Again, they think he's at 2, but in actuality he's at 3. Nate getting a toolbox out here. Cracking it. So paying 2 for the toolbox, cracking it. He still has 4 mana to work with from collection. 4 for a lightning bolt. 4 for a lightning bolt will kill the imp. It will give him back his nightmare. Honestly, I would. He's got some choices with the. He's got some choices with the Apprentice Wizard. Playing the Taurus Hammer to push in 4 more points of damage on the Jack, which is nothing to sneeze at. 4 points a turn is a lot. Tapping the Witch to drain Jack for 2 more points. That puts him at 10, so he's getting a lot of damage in here. And then he has a choice, again, like I said, with the Apprentice Wizard. He could either start marching it forward, or he could move it defensively onto the Witch site, which is what he chooses to do. And I think he did that both to provide a defender and also to provide a secondary target in case Jack has a lightning bolt. Because given the life totals, it's likely that he's going to door here. Jack, like, tapping his Witch on his turn here to drain for 2, and they think that takes Nate to door. Technically, Nate should still be at 1, but I don't think they catch that for the rest of this game here. So they are playing under the board state that Nate is now at door from that drain, getting out a Sphere of Animosity that will prevent the Witch from Nate's avatar from being defended. So if Jack is able to get out some sort of minion with charge or something to attack in, Nate is unable to defend against that, no matter what, as long as that aura is in play. At door here, Nate is in danger of getting killed with a spell. So there's a lot of things that Jack can probably do to end the game here, like a toolbox into a zap, or a lightning bolt. At this point, though, it would take a 50-50. If he had a magic missile, he could just draw a sight, play it out, and then projectile forward. Jack, however, he has a zap in hand, and they go ahead and play the zap. He goes ahead and plays the zap out. Again, the board with the board state, they as they understand it, like, Nate was at door there, and so the zap would finish the game for him. A really close game there. Without that life calculation, that would have bought Nate 1 more turn. And I think that it would have given him 1 more turn, gives him a chance to at least get Jack to door as well. But just, because Jack had that zap, I think once Nate went to door, that was going to be the end of the game for him anyways. So a really fun game to watch. Kind of a mirror match, like Witch versus Witch, but the decks obviously were built very differently. Jack curving out his Witch deck much more lower to the ground, much more aggressively, and then Nate curving out his Witch deck with a high range, and then just unfortunately, like, was not able to stabilize and get to his good stuff. That was round 2 of this tournament, and we'll move on to round 3 next.